And then I just hit the button. There it goes. It says we're live. Where's the ticker? Put the ticker up there. I don't see it. It still says we're live.
It says live.
There it is. There's the ticker. Hey everybody, come on in. It's Sunday morning. You should be awake. How come you're not awake? I'm awake. I was up until 2 last night.
Oh, godly, yeah.
I went to see a great concert, the Outlaw Music Festival.
Oh yeah.
Went to see some so-called country artists. The only one that was really country that was there was Willie Nelson. Everybody else though was great. Willie was great too.
How old is he now? About 90.
89. Made a big deal about it. 89. He come out. He said, "How y'all doing?" Sat.
And McCartney was 80 a couple of weeks ago, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He did Glastonbury yesterday, I believe.
That's what I was listening to. So I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the pundit shows or whatever. The girl there was going, I went and saw Paul McCartney last night. Phenomenal concert. Unbelievable concert. Running around the stage, playing every instrument you can think of. The guy was like 90. And I all I could do is sit there and think, he's a year older than our president, and our president can't even stay on a bicycle.
Yeah, but he's been under a lot of pressure, that Biden guy.
Yes, and so is that bike. But anyway, now especially, I'm sure they took it out back and shot it because it couldn't stand up. But anyway, the bike.
Yeah.
I don't want any strange knocks on my door.
Yeah, we got that. Yeah,
I'm talking about the bike. But anyway, Willie was amazing because he had this big guitar that he was reaching around playing. And it was out of tune for the first couple songs, but nobody wanted to tell him. It was Willie.
Like he didn't know. Oh, because he's 90.
No, he was playing, and after a couple songs, he was in. Once he got in that pocket, but his voice was always there. His mind is still sharp. He knows all the words to the songs. It was a really good show, but there were like another five acts before him that were really good as well. But they weren't really country so much as, a little folk, a little bluegrass, a little blues. It was pretty good. But my idea of country is Willie. So and they only had 1 or 2 numbers before him that I would consider hardcore country. Everything else was all sorts of genres. But that's what I like. Hey everybody, come on in. Sunday Funnies. Let's talk more music. Anyway, no. We're here to talk comics. Wait, I have an opening. A chance for a copyright strike. You ready, Steve?
Let's do it.
We're going to open with this. This is a very, very little known Hanna-Barbera cartoon that nobody talks about anymore. Nobody. I don't know why. They just don't. And I'll pull that up. I'll make sure that I'm sharing sound this time as well. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Great opening number. Anyway, here we go.
Sinbad the sailor, sailing the ocean blue, with Salty the parrot by his side, they are a fearless crew. Sinbad the sailor, ready for a fight, whatever is there, they'll be there, turning wrong to right. Sinbad the sailor, a magic belt has he pulls it tight with all his might, and a mighty sailor he'll be, a mighty sailor is he.
It sounded like they were singing Sinbad the Seller.
That's what they were singing. Sinbad the Sailor.
Yeah, the seller.
Oh, the seller?
The seller, as in selling things. Sinbad the seller.
Well, this was before they started using cartoons for merchandising. But I can sympathize with his belt because once I woke up, that's what I was doing. I was pulling my belt like way out. I had to put a couple of new holes in my belt just to be able to put it around my waist. Yeah, hey everybody, that was Sinbad the Sailor, Hanna-Barbera, believe it or not.
When was that from? Early 60s, was it? 64?
Yeah, early 60s. Anybody out there remember that show? Tell us in the chat. We're here. Hanna-Barbera's one of Hanna-Barbera's first superheroes, by the way.
Was
Got his
was the
superpower from tightening the notch on his belt.
Was the Jetsons Hanna-Barbera?
Yes.
We got that. We didn't get Sinbad the sailor.
A lot of people didn't get it, even when it was on. What's that kid doing? Pulling on his belt and he gets super strong. That's awesome. Anyway, as a kid, we all did that. We all pulled our belts. Well, anybody who saw the show. Mr. Lutkin, the professor, is in the house. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Trico. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Everything else is all notes from HR and links. Come on in, everybody. We see you out there. Come on in. It's okay. We don't bite much. So I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. We are, I should say I am a longtime alternative and independent comics producer, publisher, done everything in the alternative comics market that you can imagine, even in the direct market that you can imagine, retailed for over a decade, did my own newspaper for over a decade, ran conventions for over a decade. It's been many decades. And we're here to talk funny books and to have a good time and to hopefully entertain you. So if you find this entertaining at all, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you go over to YouTube, which is probably where you're watching us, the Raging 2 channel over on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you tell your friends. Make sure your friends subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications because you never know when a new show might pop up on this network.
Mm-hmm. True.
You never know. So also joining me this morning is Mr. C. Michael.
Hey.
Mike, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm C. Michael Lanning, independent artist, master scribbler, and panelist and show coordinator for Dispatches from Outside the Box every Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And
okay,
trying to wake up.
Trying to wake up Sunday morning, folks.
It's mid-afternoon here.
Not having any trouble Sunday morning. Maybe Sunday afternoon. It's Mr. Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hi, Randy. Thanks for having me on. I'm Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. I've written about 10 books, I think, now of different subjects, science fiction, and all sorts of stuff. You can check those out on Amazon. I publish this magazine, Comics Unlimited, which issue 9 is just on sale now. It's obviously does what it says on the tin, talks about comics, interviews, articles, all through the wonderful genre that we like to look at. And I'm also the author and publisher of this, Jack Kirby Words and Pictures, which details my trips to Jack Kirby's house in the late 80s, early 90s. And it also is on Indiegogo, but you also get a DVD with it, and you can see Jack talking to me for about 3/4 of an hour on there. So check it out, Indiegogo in demand.
Great. And we want to wish Rich Perota the best. He has COVID. Rich, get better.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear about that. I know you're making pizza.
I'm sorry, Rich, if you didn't want anybody to know, but because I told him not to play with it, to take it very seriously, because you never know when you could end up in the hospital on respirator for 6 weeks.
Yeah, we had it Helen and I had it last year, but we didn't end up in any hospitals. Thank God for that.
Let's hope he's got an extremely light case. I knew he wasn't looking good when he was on Wednesday.
Yeah,
I told him I'm not going to tell you that you looked bad, but I will tell you look tired and sick. So.
Mm-hmm.
He was fishing for that dig, and I wasn't going to give it to him. Jake, speed of recovery, richness, yes. Jake, good to see you in the house. Hope you're doing well, buddy. I haven't heard from you in a while. Jake Twister's waving hello. Twister.
Jake,
good to hear from you, bud.
Yeah, just to Rich, you should just take it easy. It'll work its way. It'll take as long as it takes. Just take it easy.
And I told him take it seriously. Don't play with it, because if it gets worse, nobody wants. I don't wish what I went through on anybody.
How long were you there, Randy? How long were you in hospital?
Well, that's the thing. I've been working on this COVID book, like I think you were asking off camera, and the more I look back on it, the more I realized that my sense of time was completely different from reality during that period. Probably because of all of the drugs I was on, all of the wonderful drugs that I dreamt these crazy dreams. According to my texting to my wife, I was actually awake for 2 days after I thought I had been down, because I remember going into the emergency room. I remember them picking me up, and then I remember waking up.
Wow.
after the fact, 6 weeks later. But apparently I was in the hospital for 2 days, conscious, semi-conscious, or whatever, because I sent her a text telling her that they were talking about putting me on a respirator. And then I think the last text was they're really drugging the hell out of me. And then nothing. Then they called the wife and asked her for a DNR, a do not resuscitate order. And then they didn't talk to her for 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
They wouldn't let her in the hospital. They wouldn't give her any information. She just knew I was in the ICU, that they had called for a do not resuscitate order. And she knows my wishes when it comes to that. No serious measures. But apparently they went and gave a third party my power of attorney and kept me alive. So I'm lucky to be here.
Wow.
And that's the doctor. After I woke up, the doctor told me I was lucky to be there because they thought I was gone a couple times. That's what he said. And they had given me, there's this last minute drug that I had talked to our insurance rep about. I think it was Hadinol, something. I think that's the name of it. I could be wrong, and probably am. When it comes to these drugs, I can never remember the exact names. But that's a last resort drug to keep you alive on the respirator. They had given that to me twice, and I pulled through both times. So,
did they give that to Luke?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But they gave me a whole list of other crazy drugs, and they did give me some psychotropic narcotic drug to keep me docile, because apparently I was putting up a fight and I don't remember any of it.
Wow.
So I do know I've got a scar. Oh, you can see it pretty loud on the camera right there.
Wow.
I got that scar on the side of my face off of it, and then my trach scar here in my throat, and then on my stomach where they tube fed me for 3-4 months. So that's where I was getting all of the good drugs from, was from this gallon plastic jug of slop that they hung up like an IV and pumped into my stomach. So, and then when I was cleared, I wasn't cleared for food initially because I have a bridge in the upper part of my teeth, and I forgot to have it in because I was so drugged out of my mind. They had taken it out, and I failed the first swallow test. So they left me on the slop for quite a while. Then when I moved to the nursing home, they weaned me off of it after like a month and a half. But I was cleared for food before I left the hospital because they realized what had happened. And when I got over there, the speech therapist wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to choke and directly send food down into my lungs if my swallowing wasn't back to normal yet. So did a lot of tongue exercises. That's a funny thing when and I don't mean to be talking about this because we want to talk about funny books, but
we never do.
And we never do. Yeah, but the big thing is when you're on the respirator, all of your muscles atrophy, all of them. So the eyesight had to come back, the hearing had to come back, the swallowing, the talking, everything has to come back. Wow. And some of us are luckier than others, and I was extremely lucky that I got everything back in relatively short order and was able to breeze through physical therapy pretty quickly. So I'm still a little weak, but
are you walking again? Okay.
Better. Now. Pardon?
Are you walking again? Okay now.
Oh yeah, everything's fine. As far as that goes, sometimes if I sit too long, but I attribute that more to me being an old man than anything. Sometimes the legs are a little stiff. You know, trying to get up, walking around the block. It's a little more tiring than usual, but I'm going to the gym 3-4 times a week and working on building up my resistance. Pops is in the house. But Past Master Dan is in the house. Hey, Past Master. Pops. Comic talk. Pops.
Oh, I wanted to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just about my book. You got my book, didn't you?
I did.
Have you read it yet?
I have not had the chance to, not yet. No, but I do like the pictures.
Postmaster Dan said he learned to do lip ups from the fonts.
I have.
Good.
My wife says she has.
Yeah. Thanks, Nita.
So everybody out there, we wish you well. It's Sunday morning. It is the 26th of June. Yes. 26th of June. Hope everyone's doing fine. The chat is open. Let's talk comics. Let's talk funny books. Let's not talk my situation.
The question I wanted. Sorry, see, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. You have questions. Ask the question.
I was
Glenn,
just going
it's
to
been
say,
a month since you've been here, so
I know.
you might have a lot of questions.
I wanted to ask you guys, as Americans, did you get things like the Beano and the Dandy and stuff like that?
No.
The British comics. Have you seen them?
Yes.
Right, but they weren't on sale over there or anything like that?
Not on a regular basis, no.
No, I've always wondered about that because there's such a fantastic, array of different sort of cartoony comics, as I would call them.
We weren't so lucky, though. We did have Mad Magazine, growing up.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the big humor mag. Then back when I was growing up, you had all of the other imitations that popped out: Crack, Sick, Crazy.
Yeah.
All of those.
I'd call that satire rather than humor.
Panic. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I must have been really fortunate then because I had all the British comics and the American stuff, Mad and everything, all the Marvel and DC and all that.
We didn't get Eagle over here. We didn't get, and I would have loved. Occasionally, you would find it really started with Captain Britain, with the Herb Trimpe, Chris Claremont lion, with the long staff, Captain Britain. That you would find here in some of the retail shops, and that was because Marvel was doing new material for Captain Britain.
What about 2000 AD? Did you get that?
We didn't get 2000 AD until the late 70s, early 80s, and I had read about them from Fantastic Films magazine had an article about the comics, and I went crazy for them and started snooping around and looking, and at the time I'm pretty sure at the time I was working at a bookstore, and I mentioned it to somebody, and they come back the next day and says, you got $20? I says, yeah, I got $20. And he took a paper grocery bag and plopped it up on the counter. The counter was set higher, and there was a half a bag full of 2000 ADs.
Wow.
And he said, enjoy yourself. And
yeah.
It was the early progs too, which was really cool. And I was like, oh, I know exactly. Thank you. And I ended up collecting quite a run of them, and all the way down to I think it was the early progs, almost single digits, from different collectors in that. And I ended up selling the whole collection in order to pay my car insurance.
Wow.
One time to a collector.
Right.
And I'd still have some stray I thought I did around here somewhere. I kept all the Star-Lords because that was one of the things that were in the bag was the entire run of Star-Lord. And that had the first Strontium dogs in it. And that was, to me, that was everything.
Carlos Esquerra.
Yes.
Fantastic, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, amazing stuff. I got quite a few of Carlos's books. They've taken just about everything that he's done and put them in hardbound.
Yeah, he died in the collections.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he have a studio doing a lot of the work, like Vince Coletti? Vince Coletti used to ink on Kirby, used to ink the main characters, and then other artists would do the backgrounds.
Everybody that churns out a lot of material has an assistant at least at one time or another, unless they're crazy like George. I don't think George ever had any assistants. But he would just curl up on the couch. The story is he would curl up on a couch and do 5 pages, just one right after the next.
While he was watching TV.
While he was watching TV. Yeah. Just some artists have crazy output and some don't. Some take some months or years. I gophered for Bernie Wrightson for a few years out in San Diego. We did San Diego Con, and I watched over his stuff. And at that point, he was working incredibly slow because the Frankenstein book that he did, that beautiful illustrated Frankenstein, literally messed up his arm.
Did it?
So he ended up having tendonitis from that, from doing all of the constant lines all the time. Just phenomenally beautiful work. But when I was gophering for him, he was doing painted plates, illustrations for the Dark Tower series for Stephen King that come out, I think, in some limited editions. So I got to see quite a bit of that, and he was doing a lot of movie production work that we were selling at San Diego. He'd do a series of production drawings, and then as pre-production for movies. Yeah. So he had they had paid him to do like 40 or maybe not 40, probably closer to 20 or 30 different versions of the rock monster in Galaxy Quest. And he had all of these phenomenal drawings, everything from like Kirby's The Thing up to just, you know, a great rock looking monster, looking beast. And they ended up settling on just throwing a bunch of rocks together.
Yeah, well, they
In the
would.
Yeah. But they paid him for all them production drawings. And back then they paid incredibly well for movie production drawings. I was able to sell those or to try to sell those at San Diego Comic Con.
A few years ago, you know, Ron Embleton, who used to draw in TV21, he used to draw Stingray.
Okay.
He drew Stingray, and you've seen Captain Scarlet, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
You know the end titles when there's the drawings.
Yeah, those paintings.
Those are by Ron Embleton,
I believe.
And they were found in. I think it was Alan Fennell died. One of the writers died, and they found all the. I think there's about 7 or 8 of those drawings and the end titles, and the big things, you know, big paintings by Ron Embleton. And Ron Embleton was paid for doing them. Mm-hmm. He sent the artwork in. That's the last he saw of it. And I think it was Alan Fennell, had them in a drawer in his office, and they found it when he died, and they sold them all for something like £5,000 each or something. These paintings of Captain Scarlet when he's reaching out and all the shark and all that kind of thing. Just that they were there in this drawer. And nobody knew they were there, and they only found it when he died, you know. But there must be loads of artwork shoved in drawers everywhere, you know, waiting to be discovered, you know,
or in vaults, or
yeah, or somebody's garage.
Yeah. Oh, that hurts a little.
I know I've got tons of artwork. I don't know about these people who are really productive. I've got tons of it, you know.
We can show folks what that looks like here in just a second. As soon as I get past this stupid YouTube ad. There we are. Hang on here. Since we're already skirting the wonders of YouTube. This is directly from YouTube. Watch these, folks, if you haven't seen these before.
Captain Scarlet, he's the one who knows the mystery game and things that
just some fantastic artwork there.
Yeah, beautiful artwork.
Yeah,
looks a bit like Napoleon Solo there, doesn't he?
They crash in, and his body
I just love the way he does the nails on the hands.
They smash in.
You know, no offense to that song, but that can turn into an earworm incredibly easy.
Yeah,
and as a kid, it was. But look at that great, phenomenal artwork there, going while the credits are on.
Yeah,
that's some beautiful paintings.
Beautiful, yeah. But Ron Embleton is like Barry Windsor Smith and people like that. The illustrators rather than comic book artists, I think they just did comic book work. Like with Neil Adams, I always see Neil Adams' work as an advertising agency type of work. You know, he's very good, obviously, but I don't see him as a comic book artist. Mm-hmm. You know, he's an illustrator who does comics. You know, Jack Kirby. Yeah. Jack Kirby's a comic book artist who did the odd illustration. You know.
Yeah. Russ is in the house. Oh, sorry, Glenn. I didn't mean to step on you there.
It's all right. It's okay.
Russ is in the house. Says, "Hey, all. Hey, Russ sent you a link.
Russ.
You're welcome on. If you can't, we
Russ.
understand. He's been so busy lately. It's been crazy. Or he'd be on more often. He used to be on all the time. Russ, you're always welcome on. Go ahead.
You've seen the rise and fall of the Trigon Empire, haven't you?
I haven't owned a copy in decades, though.
But you've seen it. You've seen that Don Lawrence artwork, and that's the same kind of thing as Ron Embleton and Mike Noble and Frank Bellamy. It's just beautifully painted stuff, full color artwork.
Did Don Lawrence do a run on Modesty Blaze?
I don't know.
I'll have to double check.
I don't think he did.
I don't have any Modesty next to me, but
I know he drew. He used to do a lot for the Dutch market, didn't he? Storm, I think it was called. He later on in his career, he did a load of books for a guy in either Belgium or Holland. I'm not sure.
Was that like a barbarian
Netherlands.
character?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that
with,
around.
With good-looking women on and all that kind of.
Of course.
Like Frank Frazetta does.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. All the good stuff.
It's all part of sword and sorcery. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you got some nice-looking girls on, haven't you?
The male power fantasy.
Yeah.
Fully testosterone laced.
Yeah.
With the women that are fully estrogen laced.
Developed.
well developed. Some would say overly developed at times, but the very great Victorian figures. Frazetta.
Yeah.
Just amazing women. That Vaughn Baudet too. It was extremely cartoony. I always thought drew the best women. Just incredibly voluptuous, round Victorian women. Just gorgeous.
And there's Boris Vallejo, isn't there? He's similar to Frazetta, isn't he? Have you seen his work? He does a lot of sorcery stuff.
Boris works a lot off of photographs, though.
Yes.
Where Frazetta was like almost like Frank Lloyd Wright. He would have it in his head before he sits in front of that canvas, and then boom, he would only spend minimal amount of time, and you'd have all of this wonderful color and beautiful composition. He had already worked it out in the back of his head. Saw it on the canvas before he even applied the brush to the canvas.
Alex Ross does a lot of graphic reference.
Yes, he does. He does a lot of photo reference stuff. Yeah.
Good
His
work.
stuff is also beautiful. Yeah. He's done some very iconic illustrations. I love the Hanna-Barbera one that he did. I don't think Sinbad was in it, but all of the other superheroes were there, all moving from left to right. Just crazy.
I think he has a great feel for light, Alex Ross.
Yes.
They're always very well lit, his characters. It's there's a gift in that, it's wonderful.
Well,
but
you have to know where light falls in order to make it look realistic.
Yeah, he only draws covers though and posters. He doesn't do a book, does he?
He's done an occasional interior
I know he did
work.
I know he did Marvels and all that kind of thing, but
he did a series of treasury books for DC. I think one with the big three, one with each of the big three, one Batman, one Superman, one Wonder Woman at one point.
He's good.
But there's just, for Alex especially, there's too much money in covers, so he'll sit there.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Plus he knows the guys at Dynamite, so Dynamite has him do covers for them all the time.
Right. So what are you working on there, C?
Just a comic.
Russ says, "I know the Mysterion game, baby." There we go.
Speaking of which, I ended up showing my daughter, she's about 16, she's about to be 17, Dick Tracy last night.
Right.
And let me tell you something. Every comic book artist needs to take a look at that movie.
At the Dick Tracy movie? I thought
movie.
I was going to say, you showed her the comic strip? Wow. What you think about Flat Top being stuck in the chimney and dying? That Dick Tracy strip was amazingly gruesome at times.
Oh yeah, well the movie they didn't hold back too much on the movie either.
Oh yeah, they did.
They did.
Warren Beatty did an amazing job. Don't get me wrong. And the movie is the cool thing about the movie, and we've discussed this before. It's like the Batman film or the Popeye movie that come out right about the same time. He created a different world that he put those characters on. He wasn't concerned about it being totally realistic.
No, not even.
That he took them out and put them in a separate universe and had fun playing in that playground, just like Burton did with Batman, just like whoever directed Popeye did, because Popeye is an amazing work. If you can, if you know the original comic strip, that's Popeye right there.
The one with Robin Williams in Popeye?
Yes. Yeah. And
Shelley Duvall.
Yes, Shelley Duvall did an amazing.
The original comic strip, wasn't it called The Oils?
It's called Thimble Theater, but it featured the Oils.
The Oils, yeah.
Yeah, because Olive had a brother named Castor for the longest time, and he was always out looking for the next get rich quick scheme.
Who was the guy with the burger in Popeye?
That was Wimpy. Yeah, Wimpy.
Well, Wimpy. We used to have Wimpy burgers over here. I don't know whether it was connected. Was it because of that?
Yeah.
Like
we have a Popeyes fried chicken chain over here. And when King Features said, "Hey, what are you doing?" They said, "Hey, we named it after the guy. We named it after the guy on the French Connection that Gene Hackman played. By Doyle. That's where we got the name from. Yeah. That's where we got it from.
That didn't last too long because they ended up. No, maybe they didn't. I don't remember if they used his image or not. But there was maybe there was like a.
They might have tried to
vegetable. Maybe they used spinach. Ended up using it or something.
Yeah. Well, he's backed a lot of different. They've merchandised that character. In fact, from what I understand, there's a person at King Features that's in charge of merchandising that character. That's their job.
Yeah,
you find different ways to put Popeye out there.
You must have seen what the Presley estate have done to Las Vegas recently. They've stopped. You can't go to Vegas now and be married by Elvis, or with Elvis as your best man or whatever.
Yeah, they stopped it.
Because it's $1 billion industry. Apparently, they want a piece of it.
Yeah. They own the image.
Well, there you go.
You can't kind of argue with that. But
No.
somebody out there should pay the royalty fee and just do it still, just to keep the.
I just don't know how it's taken them so long to realize.
Oh, maybe it just took the right lawyer coming at him, going, "You know what I can do for you? I can do this. We make some money." And then they go out and they stop it and they spoil it for everybody. Nobody can get married by Elvis anymore. Nobody wants to pay the outrageous licensing fee, and nobody makes any money anywhere. And Elvis's image slowly dwindles again into the fog, just like just like his memory is currently doing. They have an Elvis movie getting ready to come out. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I've seen the ad. Yeah,
the same guy who did Moulin Rouge.
Right.
And I understand that they had an advanced screening for the Presley estate, and that they cried during the movie. And I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing.
Maybe,
but no. Apparently, it was a really good thing because they said that they got really close to how.
Well, maybe they were thinking we should have done this. Why didn't we do this?
Well, they probably like your Elvis impersonators. They had to rent the images from the estate, or the likenesses, or the name, because I think they're calling it Elvis.
Yeah.
So, Russ, good morning.
Hello.
Russ, how are you doing?
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us, buddy. It's been months since we've seen you.
It's been a while, so I thought I'd come see you.
Don't look yet, Russ, but there's a giant duck behind you.
I know. It keeps coming in. I keep kicking it out.
He doesn't look happy either.
He keeps saying something along the lines of how much he hates mice. Or is that that's the other one? That's the cat that sounds exactly like him, isn't it?
Oh, Sylvester. Yeah.
Sylvester.
Yeah. I would gladly pay you next Tuesday for a burger today.
That's Wimpy. That's Wimpy.
Wimpy says that, doesn't he?
Daffy Duck always gets his feathers shot off, though you don't see it that much anymore because gun violence.
All that. Yeah.
Usually he gets his feathers shot off and then he grabs them all up and he says, "I keep all of these counted just for this kind of occasion."
Then he puts out the sign for bugs. Hunting season.
Yeah. Rabbit season.
Rabbit season.
Rabbit season.
Rabbits.
Yeah. I just figured you had him over your shoulder back there to remind you of all of your deadlines.
Yeah.
Angry cartoon face. Get it done.
Get it done now.
Pointing. Yeah.
Russ, what can't you tell us about this week?
Several things.
Before we get there, Russ, introduce yourself to everybody. It's the first time you've been on in months. So.
Yes, hello there. Hello there. These aren't the droids you're looking for. I'm a comic strip artist from the UK, and I work on all kinds of stuff. I've worked for Marvel, doing a bit of DC. I work for Panini, I do Doctor Who stuff, and I got my own book, Only Death Can Save Us, which unfortunately is late. Sorry, everybody, but it's all good. That's about it, really. That's me.
Anytime you need any copies of #1, let me know.
Okay.
I have them in my garage.
I've literally just sent the pencils out for the last part over to the script writer. So, I mean, we are a few months late, unfortunately, but if anybody out there who has bought the second book and who's looking in, or is thinking of buying the second book and looking in, it is coming. It's on its way. I'm a little bit late. Unfortunately, life kicked us all up the butt this year, and it's continuing to do so. There's some things happening that aren't good, but there have been some very good things as well, and that's taken up my time just as much. So it's all good. It's on its way, and there will be an update soon.
Have you been super busy working?
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
That's
Can't
what
show
matters.
you.
Oh, it's something
yeah.
you can actually show us. That's cool.
No, it's not something I can show you.
Oh, okay. Well, no, then don't show us.
I won't show you. That's why I've got the camera this way rather than down
That's
on what
fine.
I'm doing.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I should be finished with this tomorrow, and then I'm off into another Doctor Who. So
Artists work sometimes weeks, even months in advance.
yeah, well,
if you're under the right contract, there's stuff that you just can't show off of your board.
No, well, that's kind of screwed up my YouTube channel. I can't show anything. There's nothing I can show. I can't show anything. I can only show stuff when I'm doing my own book.
Yeah. I'm hard at work, kids, but you can't see nothing.
So it's really difficult to actually show anything on the YouTube channel at the moment. So my YouTube channel has suffered, but the bank balance has been okay. So
just to sit there and go, I'm drawing Judge Dredd, kids, but I can't show you. I can't
show
talk
you
about it. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Here we go.
So yeah, but it's all
we know you're not working on Judge Dredd.
Yeah. It's better than that.
That is freaking awesome. Good for you. Hail.
So yeah.
Are you drawing the new guy in Doctor Who, Russ?
No, though that I think he's coming online 2023.
Right.
Later. They're filming a couple of David Tennant Doctor Who's now.
Yeah. So I'll be
one of them's got Neil Patrick Harris as the villain, apparently.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
their 60th anniversary, they decided to use an American villain. Who knew?
I'll be doing Jodie. I'll be drawing Jodie Whittaker for quite some time. Yeah,
drawing.
That's because they've used every British actor they could on Doctor Who. They got to find something.
Yeah.
That was me.
Although last month
the
I got to draw, or the month before I got to draw Peter Cushing.
Wow,
that is awesome.
Oh wow, cool.
We did a fill-in issue where it was all about 60s Doctor and that, and I got to draw the mechanoids with Peter Cushing, which was really quite good fun. Yeah.
I thought Peter Cushing wasn't canon.
He isn't, but it doesn't. I don't think that matters.
I think
Glenn,
I think he's great.
I hate to break this to you, but they're all canon.
Yeah, I think they're all canon now.
They're all canon now.
I don't. I have no inside knowledge of this. I'm only going off what I've heard around the internet. But it does seem to be that now that Sony and Bad Wolf and then Sony have got their talents into Doctor Who, I think you'll find that they're going to be spreading out in a kind of MCU-ish kind of way. And
but doesn't that spoil the continuity of who was number 5 and number 6? Because Cushing would be 2, wouldn't he?
There is no continuity.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's all changed now.
Everything's all in the multiverse.
Yeah,
I don't watch it anyway, so I'm not watching.
So all of the doctors up until McCoy are one universe. Eccleston through the new guy is another universe.
Oh, is that so? Oh, right. Okay.
No, I'm just making it up.
You're just making it up as you go along.
And Peter Cushing is a completely different universe. But
to be perfectly honest, most production companies seem to be making it up as they go along anyway. So,
I'm a firm believer also that James Bond is actually just a code name, and that they find some orphan kid to train from youth as James Bond, and they just send him off on different adventures.
Well, yeah, and then each Bond is a different universe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why that's why they were able to replace him with a woman. It's just another orphan that they found and trained, and here you go. You are now 007. You can call yourself James Bond if you want, but
people will be turning in their graves.
I have to tell you, I saw No Time to Die. I sat and watched it.
Oh, you watched it?
I literally did, and I honestly thought there were worse James Bond movies except for the ending, because the ending he stopped being Bond.
Yeah.
At the ending, when he should have known better, when he caught the disease. Well, I'm going to spoil it for everybody, but nobody wants to watch it anyway when he stayed on the island and he knew the bombs were coming at him, that wasn't Bond at all.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
No.
For everybody out there, spoilers coming. So cover your ears.
They're already gone.
I'm never going to watch a film where James Bond dies at the end.
No,
It's as simple as that.
because he stops being James Bond.
I don't care what else is in the film. I
Yeah.
really don't give a monkeys. All right. I'm not big on canon. I like a little bit of it, but I'm not like anal about it. As long as it's entertaining and the characters are pretty much intact, I'm fine. But you kill James Bond at the end, it ain't a James Bond film. So
Well, yeah, it's the character. The characters still have to maintain consistency of who they are.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's why I don't
watch
watch.
canon. Yeah,
That's one of the reasons I don't watch Doctor Who, because Doctor Who's a man.
Well, there's been so many different Doctor Who's.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
not going to get into that
Yeah,
route.
yeah, they've all been men.
No, don't
They've all
even.
been
We
men.
probably shouldn't even go there because
Why not?
Russ-
Why can't we have a
Russ loves
discussion?
his job. Russ loves his job.
Well, it doesn't have to say anything.
No, I'm not going to say anything. Because it doesn't matter what I say, it will be misconstrued.
But it also gives,
You're right.
it also gives Russ more to draw as well. So it's all,
Yeah. I'll draw anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have pencil, will travel.
all I'll
Uh,
say is you
but
would think that anybody who gets associated with working in Doctor Who, where they have any type of decisions to make as far as his or hers canon, should go back and see what happened before.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
my-
mean, I
but I feel that way
if I
about
was-
Marvel and DC too. 'cause
Yeah,
you
if
have
I was
idiots up
right-
there, that have
exactly.
no idea what's happening.
If I was writing it, but I'm not writing it, I'm
No.
just drawing it.
But
So,
the whole dimension thing, they've already included that and everything else before anyway. And Tennant's version is often another dimension as it is anyway. So I'm not when they said, "Oh, he's coming back." Well, how can he come back? I was like, "Well, he's still out there." Him and
Yeah,
Rose
but I
both are
mean-
still out there.
I think what it is nowadays is this Michael, right? By the way,
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I think what the problem is nowadays, and this is, so I'm not going to give an opinion on particular stories or particular brands, but I think some of this you could see when Tennant was involved in Doctor Who, and somebody who I've known for an awful long time said this to me, who's been in and out of the industry quite a lot, was basically the problem they have is that they made it more about the actor than they made it about the character.
Yeah.
And David Tennant, when David Tennant left, everybody was really upset about David Tennant leaving. Okay, and it was David Tennant that everyone was sad about. It wasn't Doctor Who. It was
Yeah.
David Tennant as an actor. Oh no, David's great, and he was great. He was a brilliant actor, and he really brought something to the character. But it all worked around him as the actor that was playing Doctor Who. That was the big deal. And it's like, I think that's where a lot of properties go wrong, is that they seem to focus on the aspects of the actors or the production people rather than the characters themselves.
Right.
And I think that's where maybe things go a little awry. And
Yeah.
so I don't mind you changing things up. I don't have an issue with that, but make it about the character, not about the people that are playing it.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I always got the impression it was in a different universe ever since the Eccleston Who's. If you watch the opening of the Eccleston, ever since the Ecclestons, and I don't know
Yeah,
if it's in
yeah.
the current Who's, but you see the TARDIS traveling through this tunnel, and then it pops out, and there's a little bit of slow motion as it turns, and then it ends up going down another tunnel.
Oh, well, that's actually quite a good. I think that's a good
So-
theory.
So it's like, hey kids, we're it's a different Doctor. Here we go.
Yeah.
Boom.
I mean,
you
what
know?
some people will say, whatever, people have different opinions on what's going on with Doctor Who.
Mhm.
I have mine. Everybody has theirs, but I think you can, if you split it up like that, you'd probably make a lot of people on both sides of the opinion wall happy. To be honest,
Well, because I love Tennant and the young kid that
Matt
was
Smith.
Matt Smith, who is Doctor. Love those Who's mainly because of the writing, but nothing matches. There's a whole. We get I get Pluto here. It's a TV
Right.
streaming service. They have an entire station of Doctor Who, and they
Oh,
play
wow.
they play all of the early Doctor Who's up to McCoy.
Right?
It's a whole different feel, a whole different attitude, a
It
lot
is,
less, a
yeah.
lot lower budget, but
It is.
it's got a whole different charm than the current runs. And
Yeah.
to me, it's two different sets of Doctors.
Yeah. I think yeah, there's a reasonable argument for that. I do.
And then
in
Cushing can be a separate universe. The War Doctor stuff can be a separate universe if it wants to be. The current Doctor can be in a different universe. Whatever.
I certainly think Cushing. I mean, I'd love to see an animated Cushing Doctor.
They could easily do it.
Yeah, in a 60s style. I just think that would be really good. You know, it's like James Bond. I would love to see who was Superman?
Christopher Reeve?
No, Cavell.
Cavell. I'd love to see Cavell do a, and I'm not keen on remakes, but I'd love to see them do a 60s style remake of Doctor No with Henry Cavill in the place of James Bond. I just think that would be a really cool concept. And I like I say, I'm not keen on remakes, but I really liked him in The Men from U.N.C.L.E.
Mm-hmm.
I just really enjoyed the film. I really enjoyed him.
Yeah, I think if you did The Man from U.N.C.L.E., you'd have. If I was going to do it, I'd want to do it in the 60s.
Yeah, and that's what they did.
The same with Nick Fury and things like that. I'd put them in the 60s.
Yeah, if I was going to do the Fantastic Four, I'd want to see it in the 60s.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you know, they already deconstructed that anyway in a Unstable Molecules miniseries.
Yeah,
they could take that and lighten it up just a little bit because it was horrible. The artwork was all right, but I think Guy Davis did the artwork on that. They could take that basic idea and incorporate that in the script, but Fantastic Four and James Bond are two real properties I think ought to be left in time. That they're iconic in the time that they're in, and they are really Cold War stories.
Yeah,
I think they deserve to be left in that time period.
I think it's difficult. I mean, you look at something like Sherlock, and they modernized that, and they actually did a particularly good job. But they did keep a lot of the original Sherlock Holmes intact. And at the same time, you had the films coming out with
Robert Downey
Jr. that were period pieces.
Yeah.
And they were superb as well. I absolutely loved them. Now they probably weren't as honest as close to the book as the updated Sherlock on BBC was, as far as the character is concerned. They made it a little bit more flamboyant and fun and what have you. But both of them work beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be done. You can take something out of time, but there are some things that just need to stay where they are.
Well, there's another property that Caliber printed back in the 90s, I think, that Guy Davis and Gary Reed did, that I thought would be incredible to see on film, and that's Baker Street. And that takes place in 80s England, and the Sherlock Holmes and Watson are punk girls.
Oh, wow.
And it's just done incredibly well.
Yeah, you see, things like that can be done if they're done with sensibility and with respect. There's no reason why you can't do, wacky stuff with characters.
Yeah.
Change is a thing. But I think it always must be done with respect, not just, the old versions are crap, let's make new versions.
Let's step on the old versions.
Or let's step on the old version. That never works.
Yeah,
that never works.
Never
Russ,
works
did you see the recent BBC War of the Worlds? With
I didn't like it. I turned it off after the first episode, I think.
Right.
Well, who was in that?
Robert Carlyle was in that. I don't know who played the.
Was that a modernistic version of it?
No. It was. That was the point I'm making. It was. The Tom Cruise War of the Worlds.
Yes, I'm afraid I do. Yeah.
Today, it's like today, isn't it? I thought it was okay.
It was all right.
But it wasn't War of the Worlds, really. But it does that with Mission Impossible. It's not Mission Impossible, is it? He's like his James Bond, isn't he, all the time?
Yeah.
But the BBC, the recent BBC War of the Worlds was set in like 1902 or something when the book was written, or whenever it was, 1898, whatever it was.
Yeah, 1898.
And it worked because they dressed. They dressed like they did then, and they spoke like they did then, and it really, really worked.
And I thought, hardcore period piece then.
Yeah, I thought it worked better because it was in those times, because we know about space travel and stuff like that. So it's not really a big deal, is it? Or as big a deal as somebody 100 years ago seeing something from outer space. You know,
Yeah.
I thought it worked quite well. I didn't see they took it off the iPlayer. I didn't see the last 2 episodes.
Oh, you kidding?
No,
All right.
it went.
Can
I don't know why.
Can I spoil it for you?
No. Yeah, you want to.
I know how it ends.
I couldn't tell you why I didn't
They all
like
die.
it.
Sorry,
Just,
go on.
I couldn't tell you why I didn't like it. It just didn't. I tell you what, the best ever presentation, the best ever interpretation of War of the Worlds is Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. The music, you know,
I saw
the
that
double
live.
album.
Saw that live.
I saw it. Yeah,
Fantastic, wasn't it?
absolutely, utterly brilliant. It encapsulates everything.
Yeah,
Live would have been incredible. That would be crazy. If they have all the
Yeah.
original cast there, Justin Hayward and everything.
They had Justin Hayward back.
Justin Hayward played the Richard Burton part when I saw it. He was the narrator.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just the orchestra that with like a film behind it that I saw.
I saw the film where they had Richard Burton up in the sky.
Right.
They had Richard Burton's face.
Yeah.
That was 1984.
Right, and it was Richard Burton that was they had his voice doing it. And
cool.
It was fantastic. Live 40-piece orchestra, absolutely incredible.
I bet it was.
It was
amazing.
Incredible.
Fabulous. I mean, like, who was the girl? Was it it's not Cope Julia? She was in Evita. First girl in Evita, I think. Can't remember. Julia. I can't remember her name. It'll come eventually. But I think she died actually. So she couldn't be in it. Wasn't David Essex? Wasn't he the military? He was the soldier, wasn't he?
He was tied into it,
yeah.
I don't think he was in it either. But really good. That's just such a good interpretation. And it scared the willies out of me when I was a kid listening to it.
Oh, the Orson Welles, War of the Worlds, did that for me when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
They had that broadcast on record.
Yeah.
And you had to flip the record after the guy on the CBS building choked to death. They're like CXL, you know, calling. Is there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone? And then the record ended.
The first time I listened to the Jeff Wayne was on headphones at night in the dark.
Yeah. Oh, the red weed. It just scares you. That's silly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, no, brilliant
just
stuff.
a phenomenal use of orchestration.
And that, I think it's the bass guitar. They go dung 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 dung.
Yeah.
Dung dung.
Don't say it too much. We'll definitely get copyright strike from that because
why did they strike you for that?
Oh yeah, Jeff Wayne is very litigious. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I found that out.
I've just got 20 people going out buying the record for him. What's the problem?
Well, it's an excellent record. I have the 8-track tape, by the way. The two 8-track tapes. There you go.
8-track. Check you out.
I still have them. I have it in cassette and I have it in vinyl. So I have the Orson Welles on vinyl and I have it on CD and I have the script in a paperback book that Howard Kosh wrote.
Wow.
Kosh wrote a book I think it's called The Panic Broadcast. It's really hard to find, where he talks about his experiences working with Orson, working on radio mystery theater, CBS radio theater, and having to do War of the Worlds in a week. They had a week to destroy the world. And they ended up doing it like Orson said at the end. He had to come in and make that end speech that Orson gives at the end, where he's trying to calm everybody down. He literally said on the fly.
Is it true that people died?
Nobody died. Nobody died. That's a myth.
Right.
Right. But it did cause a lot of panic. It caused some traffic jams. It caused a water tower to get shot at a couple times. People walked out of their house and saw the water tower. It's a tripod. Their shotgun.
Don't people in America do that all the time? That's what we understand here in the States.
No, not all the time.
Not shotguns.
Usually with some cheap beer.
Right.
But not all.
Yeehaw.
I thought the Tom Cruise film was pretty good. I quite enjoyed that.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was all right. I think sometimes
I cried.
people. Did you?
I cried. It was so terrible.
I
But I'll
thought
tell
so.
you, I did. I don't know if you know. I wrote a 5-issue War of the Worlds
Yeah.
for Calderon.
Yeah.
That was an updating of the book, and because the book's in public domain, and I went through and did all of this research. I dug up a textbook from the University of Illinois. I still have that an annotated version of War of the Worlds. Wells ended up donating all of his notes to I believe it was the University of Illinois that they have on file in their library. And it was very fascinating because Wells wrote it in chapters. It was in originally serialized in a pulp magazine.
Mhm.
And if you go through and read it, and I might have already told this story before, but if you go through and read it, he describes the Martians twice, and both times he describes them, it's a different creature.
Yeah.
That they see. First time it's a lump that has small tentacles out in a bird beak, and the second time it's a giant squid with thick tentacles that comes out. So there's two. He describes two different Martians, and the reason he does that is because he got paid by the word, and he had a side chick across town that he wanted to pay for an apartment for,
Yeah, well,
because he
Gotta
was
be
really
done,
into
innit?
free love at the time. And hey, you know,
Free
Had to
free
keep-
love is great if you can
had to
get it.
keep that girl happy. So if you read the back part of the novel, and I hate to, I hope nobody thinks I'm disparaging this, and I'm really not trying to, but if you read the back part of the novel, it gets very, very descriptive, and there's a reason for that. They have the person go in and poke his head into a cylinder and describe what's inside the cylinder, and the fact that they actually packed a lunch. The Martians did while they were traveling. They found some other creatures that were gray-like with black almond eyes. He describes a gray alien from like Communion.
Well,
That
that's
was-
a bit
that was-
weird, isn't it?
That was stashed in the cylinder for the trip. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
That's a bit on the odd side.
I didn't realize that until somebody pointed it out to me, and I grabbed that annotated textbook. But at the time, it was really expensive too. It was a hardback book that cost me like $40 to get, but it was worth it because it went through and literally dissected the novel down into parts and explained this and that. And it came in real handy when I was writing the book. The stuff that I wrote took place exactly 100 years later, right at the turn of our century, and they start dropping cylinders again, and we know what they are. Because
Almost,
the original invasion was really most of England and a little bit of France when they dropped it the first time. But this time they started dropping them all over the world, close to cities.
This time they're gonna bring Martian democracy.
Well, they were looking to get as much food as possible, and then they took the red weed and bioengineered it in order to terraform the earth. So they were letting the red weed loose, and it would eat organic matter. And then release it, because in the book there's a smell to the weed. When the guy is traveling to London, he's smelling this weed the smell was
Smelling the weed.
not the red weed. Come on, the red weed.
All right,
I
the
smelled the weed
communist
last
weed.
night. I went to see Willie Nelson in concert, but
Communist
they,
weed.
Smell the weed, dude.
smelling the weed. No, the red weed gave off a scent.
Yeah.
And so I just took that to mean that they were terraforming the earth, and that's how they licked their bacterial problem.
Wow. The only thing I didn't like about the record was the last part when they're coming back.
Yeah, I was
thought-
about to say that's
I thought that spoiled it.
what
I thought it
Brandy
was a
was
little
saying
eerie.
about it. That was kind of the similar concept, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like that bit. Just the way, not the fact that they were coming back, the fact that the way the voices on it don't sound like Americans to me. They probably are, but they sound like English people doing American voices. It doesn't work for me.
Could
It
be.
spoils it.
Like
Could
a
be.
radio advert.
Yeah,
Hey, you're in
that's
Florida.
right,
Give them
yeah.
a Florida accent. Yeah,
Need to get it right.
wouldn't surprise me. But it was all right. It's still a great album. Still a great double set.
It's wonderful. It really
Even
is good.
today, it still holds up incredibly well with all the
I'll tell
electronic
you,
music, and that's just
Bit,
phenomenal.
bit of trivia for you. The very first music, song I heard when I got to the United States, the very first time, was Forever Autumn.
Really?
It had just come out then, 1978. And that was the very first music I heard. And I was in Texas, and that was the very first music.
And that's really unusual because that single didn't get very much play.
Right.
It didn't climb up the charts at all over here in the States.
I was
big
in a car. I was in a, yeah, it was, I think it got to about number 4 in England.
Yeah.
I was in a car and it was on the radio.
Sweet.
We liked our prog rock albums over in the UK.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Rick Wakeman and
Dark Side of the Moon.
David Bowie and all of that. Yeah.
Rick Wakeman, the grumpiest man in music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Alan Parsons has a new album out. I know that.
Wow. Is he
That's
still
awesome.
around?
Luckily, yes. He just had some major back surgery.
Parsons. Was that Clearwater Revival? No.
No,
he was
Project. Alan Parsons Project.
Yeah.
Alan
Get that. iRobot.
Alan Parsons Project. Was that the guy who sang? The guy was in it. Was that Greg Lake? Was he part of that?
He used a lot of people. He used all studio musicians. I saw him in concert one time, and I swear it took him 15 minutes to introduce everybody because he went through everybody's repertoire. You know, you heard him on Manfred Mann's this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that on the drums, so and so. You know,
he started out as an engineer in the Beatles, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he started out as a kid engineer. He was like an assistant engineer.
Right.
On the, if you look at the Abbey Road, Peter David documentary, he's in the background.
Yeah.
And they note him like once. There's Alan Parsons. He's
a
young kid. Look at him.
Wasn't the guy? Is it Wolfenden? He did the project with. He died, didn't he, a few years ago?
Wolfson. Yeah.
Wolfson. Yeah. Is it Wolfson? Is it? I know they fell out. Like they all seem to do. These people, don't they?
Well, you know,
they're all highly strung, aren't they?
And highly creative.
Artists.
Everybody wants their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn it.
Their own vision. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
It's usually the way that works, right?
I was like David Essex on that record when he goes poems and rubbish, you know, science.
Science. Let's dig a bigger hole.
Yeah.
Look, I've been digging all night. I've gotten about 10 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. All week.
All week. All week.
Yes, it's a wonderful album, that.
It is. It's fantastic. And also Alan Parsons, if you've never heard Tales of Mystery and the Imagination, that's also worth getting a set of headphones.
What's the one of his with the girls on who have moles on the faces and also
that's Eve.
Eve, that's it. That's fantastic as well.
Yeah, it's got the great single on there. You lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas.
and then was it 1981 was Turn Up a Friendly Card.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff.
They just did a tour here in the States before Alan went under, where they were replaying that album, revisiting it.
Great
and
stuff.
They played locally here. I wasn't able to go see them because I wasn't capable at the time, but I did see them during their live tour that they did an Alan Parsons live double album off of. And like I said, the band that he brought with him, all men, because they didn't want any women on the trip. But because I guess it was a guy journey or something. But they were traveling across the states performing, and they did our little local venue down here at Pine Knob. Don't laugh, but Pine Knob. That's what it's called. They finally renamed it back to Pine Knob instead of taking on the corporate sponsors, because everybody called it Pine Knob anyway. He filled the stands. I went thinking nobody knows who this guy is because it's the music's so obscure. He's had a couple singles, but no, you know, it was a rocking night, just an incredible evening. It was an open air venue and it was just phenomenal. Everybody was on their feet at the end of the show. Just incredible show, unforgettable. And I dragged somebody with me because the wife didn't want to go, who didn't like Alan Parsons, didn't think much of his music. And then after it was done, he was a fan.
Bought all the records.
It's just an incredible concert.
Perfect example of being open-minded. And
he sat in the back in the middle, surrounded by a circle of synthesizers.
Wow.
And then the singer, because he doesn't sing, the singers were up front singing and walking the stage and stuff. And then everybody had their own station filled with everything that you can imagine, whatever their specialty was. The guitarist guy had a string of guitars lined up. The drum guy had a huge setup. He was reaching all over the place and then reaching back like it was nothing, hitting a gong whenever he needed to. It was pretty incredible.
So, speaking of being in the middle of the audience, back in the mid 70s, I went to see Rod Stewart when he was going out with Britt Eklund.
Okay.
And nobody, and Rod's there on the stage wiggling his backside at everybody like he does, but everybody was either turned to the right, which was me, or turned to the left, looking at the mixing desk because Britt Eklund was standing there. So you've got Rod Stewart singing in the background for 2 hours, and nobody saw him because they were all looking at Britt, and she's gorgeous, you know. She's just standing there. The only person looking at Rod Stewart. The only person looking at Rod Stewart was Britt, and we were all 2,000 people were all looking at her.
He's an ugly sod.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Got a few bob though, hasn't he? There's no ugly millionaires. As they say.
Talk about right time, right place.
There you go. Because he's such thing as an ugly millionaire.
Yeah. Talk about right time, right place. I don't mind earlier stuff from Rod Stewart, but I think he's overrated by a long way. So do I.
Yeah, so do I.
Really overrated. But he just managed to get himself in the right places and wiggle his bum on top of the pops, didn't he?
I'll tell you who else is overrated, in my opinion, is Sting.
You know how he got there, though. You know how he got there? Talent. That's how he got there. Talent and a good agent.
Yeah, and the right time.
You know, there's seriously though, there's no arguing that Maggie May is a great tune.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
I hate it. I've heard it so many times. It's like All Right. It's like All Right Now.
That's why you don't like it. It's because
it's like All Right Now by Free. I can't.
I feel the same way about Journey in Boston. They got so much airplay at Chicago. I feel the same way. Just so much airplay. I'm just done.
I personally, I'd be happier to listen to Maggie May several times again rather than listening to him croak on now and make out that he's still worth it. Good Lord.
But it was never worth it.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's overrated, completely overrated. It doesn't mean that I don't like, I would say, quite a few of his tracks. Yeah. I do, but he's just totally overrated.
Well, the thing is, now a lot of these guys are making more money now than they were ever making because everybody's listening to the old stuff because the old stuff was so much better.
I'm not saying that Sting isn't any good. I'm just saying that he's overrated. He's very good, but I just think he's overrated. I
think a lot of these people, when they make stuff for the masses and it's really good, they're great. And then they start getting all up themselves and start thinking, I'm a superstar, I can do what I like.
I'm really great.
I'm really great. And then their stuff turns to rubbish.
That's what Boy George did. Boy George did that. He said that for 2 years when he was with Culture Club in the mid-80s, he said you've got to understand that when you're with the same 20 or 30 people every day, 24/7 for 2 years, and they all tell you how great you are, at the end of it, you're pretty great. You know, he said, you're pretty good.
You're great. Yeah.
You think you're great, and then when your fame wanes, like his did, because he got too big for his boots and went on his own, and we never heard of him again. You suddenly realised he wasn't as good as as they thought he was.
What is it? Bill Murray said that for the first 2 years you're an asshole. I think it's what the comment. The first 2 years of you being famous, you're an asshole.
Some would argue that when it comes to Bill Murray.
Yeah, Stripes was the last best thing he did, wasn't it?
From what I understand, that there's people around him now that say those 2 years have lasted a long time.
Long time.
As well.
For the first 4 decades.
There might have been a reference to Chevy Chase.
Yeah,
that too. Him too. Yeah.
The best thing Chevy Chase did was the Paul Simon, You Can Call Me Out.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing he ever did, wasn't it?
When was that? About 1986, I think.
86, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, seriously though, some of his weekend reports were really funny. Good evening, I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not.
Was Chevy Chase in the holiday programs where they go on holiday and grandma?
The vacation.
Right.
Can I ask 4 vacation movies? Yeah.
Can I ask a question of an American?
That's what Glenn's been doing this whole hour. This whole show. Go ahead.
So Animal House was. What's the full title? It's
Animal House.
National Lampoon's
Animal House.
National Lampoon's Animal House. And then it was like National Lampoon's Holiday Vacation, which is a Chevy Chase film. What is the National Lampoon's? What's that all about?
The National Lampoon was it started out as a college fanzine that kind of turned into a national magazine.
Ah,
That was
okay.
a higher intellectual content than Mad.
Right. Okay.
But
I
was a
understand now.
it was like the Harvard, closer to the Harvard Lampoon,
Right.
which is also like it started out as almost like a college fanzine and has blown out.
So is that is that like saying Marvel Comics is Spider-Man?
To an extent, they tried to turn National Lampoon into a brand.
Yeah.
As National Lampoon. At the time, National Lampoon was a tremendous magazine. I mean, I used to read it every month when it would come out. They had a great comic section with Vaughn Baudet and Trotz and Bonnie. They hired the people that got slammed on the Air Pirates case and had them do work. Jeff Jones was doing work for them for a while, doing Idol. And the Appletons was in there. There was a number of really good quality adult comics in that magazine. Just really great stuff. And also every once in a while they do a comic book parody where they'd hire Neil Adams to draw like the Adventures of Zimmerman. I remember that one specifically.
As you do.
That's also
no idea.
But that's also where Chevy Chase came from. That's
where a lot of these not ready for primetime players came from. Almost all of them came from the radio show that National Lampoon started.
He was friends with the guy, one of the guys that started National Lampoon, the guy who died. He wrote Groundhog's Day, not Groundhog Day, Caddyshack. Was it Max something? I can't remember what his name is.
I don't remember. They were all really Chevy Chase and Belushi and all. They were all really tight. They took most of the original not ready for primetime players right off of the National Lampoon Radio Hour.
Yeah.
There was a series. There's a series of albums that National Lampoon did too, vinyl records that have different comedy bits and stuff in it. And Chevy Chase and Jim Belushi especially are all through those.
What's the guy called in Trading Places? He's one of those guys, isn't he?
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd,
yeah. So it's the equivalent of Footlights, I suppose. It's like the American equivalent, except without all the posh. Do they all come from posh universities?
I don't think so. Most of them came from improv comedy troupes.
Right.
Was Robin Williams in that?
No.
Doug Kinney.
Who? Matt Kinney?
Douglas Kinney. Doug Kinney.
Doug Kinney.
Yeah. He was one of the guys that founded the Lampoon, or rather, you know, it was already something, but
there was a whole group of guys that started the Lampoon. They couldn't keep the Lampoon running after a while, and they ended up shutting the magazine down. And when they did, the brand just kind of faded out. National Lampoon also did Van Wilder, that started Ryan Reynolds. Really started Ryan Reynolds' career.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, there's actually a movie out there detailing the rise of National Lampoon.
I believe.
Yeah, and it's got what's his name? Will Forte playing Douglas. And it's got Joe McHale playing Chevy Chase, which is horrible.
Yeah,
just horrible.
Bad choice.
Well, I'd
rather have old Chevy Chase come in there and play Chevy Chase.
I thought Joel McHale stopped being funny after Talk Soup.
Yeah, when he stopped having the writers for Talk Soup. Write for him.
Well, that's very true.
Randy, you'll know the answer to this one. Am I right in thinking that it was Jack Davis who did those National Lampoon holiday posters?
He absolutely did. Yeah, he did a number of movie posters. Did the Animal House poster too.
Yeah,
that's a funny
the movie poster.
Well, they were kind of spoofing the Conan.
The
posters and images, weren't they?
Oh, and that in the Vacation, yeah. That was a Boris Vallejo looking thing.
Yeah,
so, I think the first Vacation, first Animal House is Jack Davis. He was doing a lot of movie work at that point.
It's fantastic, isn't he, Jack Davis?
Unbelievable.
One of the best.
And he could do. Jack was one of those guys that could do anything too. So he went everywhere. He was children's books, TV guide covers, just everywhere that you could imagine. He was there. If he could get he was, a true commercial artist. He did whatever he could, whenever he could.
You know how things stick in your mind. The first thing about Jack Davis I remember back in the Mad days was the way that you could always see the soles of the feet of the characters he was drawing. And they always had a hole in the shoe. And they were always really weird pointed shoes, really, weren't they? Really long shoes. And I always remember, I think it was a drawing of, it'd be Robert Vaughan, Man from U.N.C.L.E. And he was running with Ilya. But they were running down some corridor or something. But you could see the soles of the shoes. Do you understand what I mean? It's the way that that blew my mind when I was 12. I just couldn't, because nobody else was drawing the sole of the shoes. And he used to do it all the time.
When it comes to shoes, all I can think of is Don Martin, who would always draw the shoes flat down. Always.
Flubber-dap.
Yeah, flubber-dap. For whatever reason, he thought somebody with floppy toes for shoes was hilarious. And it was. But that and bent noses,
Yeah.
Just incredible. But that goes back to that Mad group, the EC group. Jack Davis for me is those old EC comics, because I have all the box sets of those, and it's just amazing to sit there and see his art, because he did, like I said, he was able to do anything. So he did stuff for Mad, he did stuff for Tales, Suspense Tales, or whatever it was called. He did science fiction stuff. He did everything for EC Comics back in the day.
There's a great. I think, Travolta, Saturday Night Fever, when he's walking down the street with a tin of paint, and you always hear the Bee Gees in your mind. Yeah. And it's a fantastic drawing of John Travolta. And I often wonder if John Travolta's got that on his wall. And then I wonder how many commissions people like Mort Drucker do for people's weddings and things like that, and do these cartoons of people.
Yeah, you never know.
Do them all, but I know, but they're just wonderful. Same with George Perez. He used to do a lot of that kind of stuff, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Well, the IDW George Perez book collection, I pulled that out the week after he had passed and showed, but he had a theatrical troupe that he was really close to where he lived. I think it was in Florida, and he would do the posters for that group. Yeah. And they ended up printing all of those posters in that IDW collection. It's a lot of phenomenal compositions and just great Perez artwork that nobody has seen, or hardly nobody has seen, unless you were in that local area.
Yeah,
just beautiful stuff. Yeah,
fantastic stuff. No computers in sight.
Not for George. No, everything was hand done. So it's amazing too. I don't know if you've been keeping track of the heritage auctions that have been going on, but there's a lot of artwork from the 80s that I'm sitting there looking at and going, some art dealer had that at a convention table and was looking to sell it for $35-$50 just to get some money out of the thing. And now it's going for $200,000-$300,000.
Jesus.
Some serious ones out there.
Yeah. Unbelievably serious money. But that's because original art is now getting rarer and rarer because everybody's working digital. Plus you get a key. There you go. Plus you get the artwork that he can't show us. Except the back. Here we are. Look at this. This is great.
We could see through it then, Russ.
Okay.
We know what it is, but we won't tell anybody.
Don't tell anyone. I don't know. I mean, I'm not under a strict NDA. I've just been, keep it quiet till it comes out, kind of thing.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And
major publisher.
Yeah.
We don't care. We're not impressed. We're not impressed.
No, I know you're not.
Yeah, he's incredibly impressed. Don't let him fool you.
So
major character.
Yeah,
somebody everybody would know.
Yeah, and it isn't Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse, sweet. Does he have the pie eyes, or the two circles for eyes, or the long oval with the piece of pie cut out of it?
Oh, no black in these eyes.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. Gusferson is the Mickey Mouse artist for me.
Yeah,
he is just amazing.
But yeah, original art is it's going to be the thing. I mean, I've transferred over to original art now.
Yeah,
good.
I still use the computer. I pencil on my computer because I find it's just easier to do it that way. But then I print it out and I ink the whole thing traditionally.
Yeah,
and it just means that you've got real things to sell people. I've got a stash of artwork to give to my kids to flog when I'm dead. So.
Yeah. And over here in the States, all of that money transfers, the value transfers over to your estate. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the great
Wonderful
thing
for
is
your
because nobody has a clue who I
kids
am.
responsible for.
Technically, they won't be worth anything, so
Yet.
they won't have to pay.
Yet we
They
all
won't
know
have to pay anything
we all know us artists get a lot more popular after we pass.
after we're
Yeah.
dead. Yes.
Yeah.
It's always the thing. Speaking of that, I was just down to the Detroit Institute of Arts a couple of weeks ago. Got to see one of the Van Gogh self-portraits.
Ooh.
Looks exactly like the guy from Doctor Who. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Exactly like it.
It's great.
How did they find that guy to look like this? That's amazing.
That was a fantastic episode.
Oh,
it
classic.
was.
Classic.
That was like of the new era. It's got to be one of the best episodes.
Yeah, I think one of the most ingenious stories that they ever did was River Song. Just and not necessarily the way they executed it, but just the thought behind it. The two-part library show I still watch, despite what's her name Tate being in it. I still sit through it. She grates on me. I'm sorry, just the way it is. But the writing on that show is just and Alex Kingston for us. She just come off of like 5 or 6 years on ER, which was a big medical drama over
Was
here.
she on ER?
George.
Oh
Clooney.
yeah.
I didn't watch ER. I don't know it.
No.
so-
You should. It's available for streaming.
Uh,
Once you start watching it, it gets you sit there by the time it's done and you go, why'd they ever stop this show? They should have never stopped. They had already rotated the cast at least twice.
Wasn't it?
Okay,
because-
let me put it to you this way. I have watched ER twice in my life. The
Mhm.
first time that doctor got his arm cut off by the helicopter.
Oh yeah, classic. Yeah.
The second time I watched it, and I swear this is true, he got killed by a helicopter.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, there's just too many helicopters in the show.
But you got to understand the whole. You saw the 2 episodes, right? But you didn't see the whole context of the show because when he lost his arm, they had written that character so gruff. The audience mostly cheered, and then they went, "Wait a minute, what am I cheering for?" And then when he died, because he was always plagued by helicopters after that. He had become a really sympathetic character, so that when he died, he was missed.
Watching ER gave me a stomach ulcer.
Yeah, I never saw it. Did it not end because George Clooney decided to be Batman?
Oh,
Oh, no,
no,
it
no,
kept on
no.
going.
Well, they
Kept on
out
going.
of shame, maybe, but no.
Only his career
George
did.
Clooney.
That's all it is.
Only his career.
Hey,
That's
do you
why
wanna see-
he didn't come back except for like a glimpse of appearance for
The
somebody.
story is that George Clooney has a picture of himself as Batman hanging in his office. And somebody asked him why you had that, because he goes, I keep that up there to remind myself that everybody makes mistakes.
Oh well, fair enough. I'll give him. I'll give him
I
a
tell you,
two.
he's made some good films, George Clooney. If you watch Solaris, Good Night and Good Luck, Syriana.
Brother,
like
where
the
art
Ocean's
thou?
11, all right. I mean,
What was the one, the man who talks to goats? Classic.
Oh yeah.
oh, the man who stares at goats. Yeah.
Isn't that
I've read-
about
Stares at goats.
MK
The man who
Ultra?
stares at goats.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was
Yeah.
based-
I've read the
True
book on
story.
that. I've not seen
Yeah.
the film, but I've read the book.
Yeah, and he was also responsible for Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I think
Oh,
he
yes,
directed
that's
that
He
film.
directed it.
The
And he makes
story of
great
Chuck
coffee
Barris.
adverts.
Writes great
Yeah.
coffee adverts. There you go.
He's
He
all,
does-
I mean, heck, the guy's got a
That's whatever
spy
he wants
satellite.
now.
Was it? What was it? Was
He's
it in
got his
Libya?
own
Libya?
spy satellite.
Yeah, he's got a spy satellite.
Is this an episode of The Simpsons? What's going on?
There was, I can't remember something happened there. He's pretty
probably
involved
has
in
been, Rush.
global
It probably-
politics.
yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty
Blimey.
heavily involved in global politics. I'll give him
That's
that.
over in Italy, though, isn't it? I think that's where he's at.
Maybe so. But
Married a beautiful woman, bought a vineyard, and works
Oh,
whenever
well,
he
fair
wants
enough.
to. Yeah.
Fair enough. You can't blame him for that.
Hey, here's another piece of trivia for you. You know his auntie, Rosemary Clooney.
Yeah.
She when the day I was born, she was top of the pops with Mambo Italiano. How about that? There's my conversation with George when I meet him.
That's just you dating yourself, sir. That's
Man,
we all know how
I have
old you
no
are.
idea what you're talking about.
yeah.
Well, the
You must have heard of
Italiano.
Mambo
Yeah, it's a-
Italiano. You must have
Yeah.
heard. that.
Mambo Italiano.
Hey, Mambo Italiano. You must
I
have
think
heard
I
it.
remember seeing or hearing that in a
I
comedy.
don't know, but-
movie somewhere in the 80s.
Your
it was
rendition
in,
of it, Glenn, is
it was in
making me
Mermaids.
smile.
with
Check it
Cher.
out.
Little Mermaid.
It was in Mermaids with Cher.
Oh, Mermaids.
movie-
There we go. Mermaids with Cher.
Winona Ryder and Cher. Yeah.
And how C remembers that is beyond me.
Joe was
No, I
Danny
had a crush
DeVito,
on
was he?
Christina Ricci, who was in that movie.
Everybody
That's
had a
why.
crush on Christina Ricci when she
Was
was
Danny
old enough to have
DeVito
a
in that
crush on.
movie?
Anyway,
Yeah.
now she's Wednesday again. So hey, there you go.
I don't know how that's going to turn out. They got that show coming out.
All we can do is sit and laugh, I guess.
What show?
They had Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh,
Christina Ricci
yeah,
plays
yeah.
Wednesday Addams. There is a stream of great videos over on YouTube though about an older version of Wednesday Addams. It's actually fun.
I've seen this.
Those are
Like trying to take her out on a date and all this other stuff. Yeah.
And she's got the same Addams humor all the way through. It's very funny.
I think that's the
another great artist nobody talks much about anymore. Charles Addams, Chaz Addams.
Yeah. I think that's, we were talking earlier about doing remakes and stuff and reboots, and I think really that's probably at the core of the problems of modern entertainment, is that nobody's taking chances on new things.
Yeah.
Well, they're playing with so much money, they're scared to death.
Yeah.
They have to do stuff that they think that is definitely going to make money.
There's a thing on Netflix called Love, Death and Robots.
Oh yeah.
That's brilliant because it's all original, it's all new and something different. And they're only like 5-10 minutes or 5. I think they're between 5 and 20 minutes long, and it's just wonderful to sit down and watch something it's like picking up a comic of a new character that you've never seen before. You're completely fresh to it, and it's so nice and refreshing seeing something completely out there that just hasn't been done before.
They just squeeze everything dry, don't they?
Yeah, I mean it's the same in the comic world. It was the same thing, like we had we had all our heroes deconstructed in the end of the 80s, which were brilliant stories, but that doesn't mean that you have to deconstruct them every time you make a comic, and that kind of ruined a lot of comic stories after that.
But see, I think things have come around. That's what I was telling you when I said my daughter watched the Dick Tracy movie last night. She loved it. She's 16 years old. She reads manga. She does all this other stuff, and it's like let's get back to that simple stuff, because now we're coming. We've done this deconstruction thing now since the 80s, 90s, and going into this. I was watching it. I was like, can you imagine if they did the Spirit in that style, a movie like that?
They need to do the Spirit in that style. There is a TV movie out there. I've got it on VHS it has Sam Jones as Denny Colt. So. Yeah, the same guy who is Flash and Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
So the acting might not. If it's a made-for-TV movie, but it's definitely in the Eisner spirit of things. They have an Ebony in it, which they didn't have in the other Spirit film that I remember. And it tried to keep to the flavor of it. Ellen Dolan was played by what's her name? She was on Deep Space Nine. I want to say Kira, but probably not. But she was also in the major production of Chicago after that. I'd have to look it up.
Not Denise Van Outen.
No, I'd recognize the name if I heard it. She played the first on Deep Space Nine. She played the second in command.
Bajoran, right?
Bajoran.
Bajoran. Yeah. Kira, that was what her name was.
Kira?
Yeah. I think you said it right.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Her name is Mira something. Mira, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I could look it up.
Who did you just say, Glenn? What's her face?
Denise Van Outen.
Yeah, Denise Van Outen in Star Trek. That would be funny. All right, love.
She's great. Leave her alone. She's great. She tries her best. She was good on The Big Breakfast.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd love you to hear that. Oh, Denise Van Outen, she tries her best.
Tries her best.
She's lovely. I love her. She's great.
It's not Mira Furlong. That's
Babylon 5, isn't it?
Somebody else. Yeah.
Oh,
she died, didn't she? She died that miracle.
Yes, she did.
Is that the skinny girl?
Nana Visitor.
Yeah.
Nana
That's
Visitor.
her name.
Yes.
Nana Visitor.
I knew it was kind of a different name.
She was Ellen Dolan. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, so I'll talk fondly about it and then probably watch it and think it's the stinkiest thing I've ever seen.
I'll tell you what I was disappointed with the other night. We watched that Queen,
Don't tell us.
that Queen thing with Rami Malek in it.
I like that.
Was it really bad?
He was great, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was supposed to be about Queen. It was about him.
Oh, it's about
Oh,
Freddie
yeah.
Mercury. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic, you know. But I just thought
I really like that film. I have to
I hate
say.
to say it, but he played a good Bond villain in the last Bond.
I
thought he was pretty good in that.
I miss Freddie.
he's good in the Pacific, Rami Malek.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie's fantastic. I saw him a couple of times. He was brilliant.
Oh, you lucky.
I would have
yeah.
loved to have seen that. Yeah.
I just loved Freddie. That's like you know, there's this whole, without getting too political, there's a lot of sort of phobias, like phobias of phobias at the moment. Everybody's saying, oh, it's the worst world to live in and all the rest of it. I remember being a kid, like end of the 70s, early 80s, and you just knew. You just knew that Freddie was gay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Along with Kenny Everett and all that. You knew that, and you didn't care. You
A
didn't.
number of
they
flamboyant people. Yeah. Heck yeah.
just like Uncle Kenny on the television. He
Well,
was
this
the
is like
best.
you said. This is like you said before about Doctor Who. You're caring more about the actor than the character.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I saw Freddie Mercury back in the first time I saw him was back in 1975, just when Bohemian Rhapsody hit #1.
Oh, wow.
When they were at their top, and I saw him a few years later when they were big. You know what I mean? But I saw him in Manchester in 1975. He was fantastic.
He was the most underrated piano player in all of rock and roll.
He was just such a wonderful person.
He's
Just
great. Yeah.
Amazing talent.
And we're all older than he is.
Hey, folks, you've been listening to the
When he
music
died.
review here on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about comics in a minute.
There aren't any Queen comics. What the heck? That was great. Some of the best soundtracks, though, I'll tell you. Flash Gordon and Highland.
Russ is doing a Queen comic
with
next week. Aren't you, Russ?
I did a Queen
Quiet.
comic.
Did you?
Right.
I did. We got an award from the Queen. I'm not. I shit you not.
Good for you. That's cool.
I'm going to look for the comic. Where is it?
Wrong Queen. But that's
I
all
can't
right.
remember which queen are we talking about.
No, we're talking about the Queen.
Eddie
We're
Izzard?
talking
What?
about the Queen, not Eddie Izzard. No, the Queen. Look at this. I picked this up.
Oh, I've got that.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
Savage
at that.
Soul. Yep.
I had the. So this is the American version, which was $1.
Oh,
Look at those
It came
pages.
out.
Look at those. You can see that. You can see the brown newsprint from here.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Wow.
Stunning. So I remember being on a boat when I was about 10 or something and getting this, and my mum was really upset because the boat was too small and she was annoyed about the engine. Anyway, that's beside the side. and I got this as it was issue #1 because this is #4.
And not to totally change the subject, but isn't that amazing about certain comics?
Yeah,
that we have certain comics that spark certain
Yeah,
memories.
sparks of memory. And I had the British version of this, which I think was #1, and this is #4 from the States. But it's got the same. It's got the iron shadows in the moon, which is it's just the artwork is superb.
Is that a Vallejo cover?
I have no idea.
It
Boris,
looks like it.
It's got Boris on it.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
Boris
it's
Vallejo,
Vallejo,
yeah.
Stunning
Boris.
stuff. So I got that the other day. But yeah, I was looking for the Queen comic, but I can't find it. But yeah, we got an award from the Queen and everything.
Sweet. That is awesome.
I don't know.
You don't see Biden over here giving out awards for funny books. What's wrong?
No. Like, what's wrong with him?
What's wrong with it's
what's-
just what's
well,
wrong
okay.
with comic companies. They ought
That's
to
like say, what's wrong with Joe Biden?
should be kowtowing their propaganda.
Hold on a minute, I'll get a list.
He was
They
probably
did
just
one.
doing
They
it.
did
he
one
was,
with Obama on it. Well,
he was doing his paper round when he fell off his bike.
he didn't just fall off of it. He just said it was like one of those great old comedy shows where you're there and suddenly it's
back
over.
in a minute.
He stopped pedaling. He forgot to keep pedaling.
Well, he's coming to a stop. It looks like he forgot that he had to put his feet down. That's why he came to the stop.
Probably.
I always laugh at that vice president woman. Oh my god!
Don't please.
I won't. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, she's only there to be laughed at. It seems every day she's worse than Biden as far as
She
giving
thinks
off
everything else
applause.
is funny, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Could be worse. Could be worse. We could have Hillary. So hey, it's me getting political, and we shouldn't. This is not that kind of program, folks.
Yeah.
And the chat has shut up here. Marvy has spoken up. If you do a sing telling that you're sexy but you're ugly, you're the best. Oh, he's still talking about Rod Stewart.
Yeah. If you think I'm sexy.
I think that about the Stones, but it's me. Sorry. Okay. That's how.
Yeah, it's you.
That's how I do it, Russ. Thanks to you. Yeah. Watching with my wife since last week. Oh. Okay.
No idea.
We've been watching Yellowstone. So it's been interesting. A couple episodes a night. It's a soap opera about a Montana rancher. It's got a huge spread next to Yellowstone National Park.
All right. That'll disappear vaporize in the explosion, will it?
Well, they haven't gotten, they just had a serious flood up there, especially on the north end of the park. They washed out so many of the roads. They're not going to be back up and running until probably 2023. At this rate, probably late next season. But they had entire sections washed out. That was pretty horrific there for a bit.
Wow.
Crazy floods, you get an extra snow cap up in the mountains, and then suddenly you have a couple of weeks of way above normal temperatures, and everything melts and slides downward. So.
I blame Brexit.
No, it's the Russians. We all know.
Yeah.
Some crazy Russians.
The Russians.
It's got to be it. Some crazy oil prices.
It's Ukraine's fault. They should just let Russia have what they want.
And if it's not that, it's got to be a Supreme Court ruling coming down. So that caused it too.
Yeah, I was going to get political, then I won't.
No. Marv says, now I'm quiet because I'm taking care of my textbook. No, my next book. Taking care of my next book. Yeah. Good for you, Marv. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going well. Marv says ER. So off of ER. You need to sit and watch the pilot. It's available, I think, on Hulu. It's worth your time.
Yeah. There at that point, that was one of those times when there's nothing on but doctor shows. They always have that cycle of television where there's
but they were
the
major doctor show for a long time, just Grey's Anatomy. Just won't stop. Just
Dr. Kildare.
Yeah, Dr. Kildare. Marcus Welby, MD.
Yeah.
I
remember watching Raymond Burr in Ironside, was it, or Burke's Law or something? One of those people.
Ironside. Perry Mason's still big over here. They have Pluto has an entire channel now. That's all they play are the black and white Perry Masons.
Wow. They have a new series, Perry Mason now.
They do. In fact, who's executive or not even executive? The production company on that came from Iron Man 3 money.
Oh, really?
Robert Downey Jr. is in charge of that. The first thing he bought with his Iron Man 3 money was the rights to Perry Mason.
Oh, really? I hear it's good. I haven't watched it. I hear it's good.
It is. It's really good, but don't, especially if you don't know any of the Earl Stanley Gardner books, because they've updated it, inclusion and diversity. So suddenly Ella has Della Street has a taste for women, and Drake, I don't remember his first name, but the private investigator Drake is now an African American. But if you don't look at it from the original work, it's a very entertaining series. In fact, the first season is really good because it shows how he gets his law degree. He starts out as a PI.
Well, doesn't it take place at the period like 1950s? Huh?
No, it takes place back in the 30s.
In the 30s, okay. I knew it was
late 30s. Perry Mason was actually a pulp hero. Earl Stanley Gardner started writing just like Howard and even H.G. Wells all started in the adventure pulp magazines, telling stories. But there's like 230 some Perry Mason novels. Wow. Nobody sees anymore. Never gets reprinted. Never gets out there. They had a Earl Stanley Gardner pulp magazine, I think, for a little while. It didn't last very long. Ellery Queen has lasted longer, much longer. But when Raymond Burr came in, they pared the idea for the pulp stories down into a basic formula, and that's what you got every episode in the Raymond Burr TV series. But the pulp novels were a lot grittier and a lot rougher. And if you watch the first HBO season of Perry Mason, it's on HBO Max. It's worth your while. It's a continuing story, which is cool. It really has a beginning, middle, and end throughout the season. But the main, not really main, but one of the main characters is Tatiana Maslany, plays a female. It wasn't a televangelist at the time because she was only on radio. Radio evangelist, and that figures into the story. It's very interesting, and anything that Tatiana is in is worth your time to watch. And I'm sure She-Hulk is going to be great just because she's going to be on it because she's that good of an actress. Unless the writing is really, really sucky. But if you've never seen Orphan Black, that was on BBC America.
Oh yeah,
that she was in. I tell everybody you need to sit and watch that, and all you need to know is that it's a great science fiction series. The first couple of seasons, phenomenal, and then it starts getting a little frayed in the third season. But she literally carries that show because it's a clone story.
Yeah,
she plays like six different main characters and about 10 other secondary characters, and she does it incredibly well. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Pretty much.
You said clowns. Sorry.
No, clone.
Clowns.
C-L-O-N-E. Yeah.
But she could do clowns.
She could do clowns. Yeah.
But what was amazing about that show? What was amazing about that show is you'd watch her even interacting with herself.
Yeah.
And you would forget that it's the same actress.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was that good.
That's the only reason I'm interested in She-Hulk.
Yeah, end of the first season, they have all the different versions of her that they know of at that point that are still alive, all together in one apartment and all dancing, and everybody dances differently. So it's really an interesting character study, and she really didn't get enough credit for her acting ability because she did an amazing job.
Her brother is
awesome. Dancing is not genetic.
The what?
Proof that dancing is not genetic.
No.
Yeah, right. Because they all come from different backgrounds, all of them.
Yeah, well, to further spoil the story, there's a cloning experiment that they take all of the subjects and spread them throughout the world and give them to orphan them off to different families.
It's not,
and so they're all nurtured differently.
So much to say about that. There's so much to say about that, and you can't because it's just
it's a great statement of nurture over nature. That's what it is, because everybody starts with the same genetic material. It's just that they're raised in completely different cultures, and it's very fascinating.
Or perhaps they just don't have the same soul.
Oh, that becomes a question in the show too, whether or not they actually have one.
Well, yeah, if you're a thinking being, then you have one.
Well, that's like Blade Runner, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 40 years ago yesterday.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And I didn't realize that, but Blade Runner and John Carpenter's The Thing were both released in the same week.
Wow.
So it's like, hey, what are you going to go see at the theater? But nowadays,
nowadays you could afford to go to both of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Being on that. Yeah.
Russ, show us your Queen book.
I don't.
You don't find it.
I couldn't find it. But what I did find was this.
I have that book.
I
have that book.
I picked it up for $10 the other day.
Wow. Sweet. I have the whole run. Not
do you have the badge with it?
Achievement.
No, there was no badge. If it had the badge, apparently it's 150 quid.
This is the badge you all want. You all want one of them.
Yes,
Crikey.
Absolutely. Crikey badge.
Crikey. The Queen book had lots of different illustrators, and it was done by Tim Quinn and by Liverpool Heartbeat. So it's like it was for a charity, and what they do is they take all the books, they take them into schools, and they get kids to read the comics in the schools, which is a really good thing.
Yeah.
So the Queen, the Queen's office was made aware of the book, and they gave them an award for it, which is really, really nice.
Really?
It's got people like I can't remember the names. Hold on, I'll let you know
While
me,
you're looking for
obviously.
that, I had a teacher from a local high school get a hold of me and saying that if she could get some comics, that she's got kids that would read them. And I'm like, well, that's funny. I've got comics that kids can read. Yeah. So I get to talk to her later today. Maybe I can get rid of a couple of boxes worth of newspapers and maybe a box or two of comics. And
you should all get one of those.
Make the wife happy. There we are. The Phantom Society.
Oh.
If you want one, let me know. I've got millions of them.
Yeah, it's got. I can't remember all the names, but it's got me and Lou Stringer in it. If you know Lou Stringer, he's been like in the Beano and that kind of stuff, and he's got a strip in Doctor Who magazine as well. So,
not to get too political, but let me dust the dust off of this. I have a button that's been hanging on my back wall for quite a while.
Oh wow! Come on.
Good Lord!
Oh my gosh!
Wow. There's a name you haven't heard in a while. Anyway, never mind, kids.
I just had a vision.
It's too late now, kids. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Wasn't Ross Perot the guy who said to Bush Senior? Bush Senior said to him, what are you going to do about the country's deficit? And he said, "You got me there. No business I run has ever had a deficit."
Yeah. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And he didn't win.
No.
He had a chance though. He had a chance
for a short time there, and then he started the Republicans really messed him up. They did a couple of things and had him starting to talk crazy. He was convinced there were UFOs and aliens had come down and all sorts of stuff after a while.
But there are UFOs.
But there are.
I know there are. I also had that.
The American government are investigating them as we speak.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
go if you ever get,
there's a difference between investigating and saying that you're investigating.
That's how we can put it, right?
No, they are. That's what I'm saying. It's public knowledge now.
No, we have to talk about that behind the scenes.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
They say they're doing it.
So do you not think the Tic Tac video is real?
Oh no, I believe the videos are very real. Heck yeah.
That's not the point. It's just that we can't get into it live.
Oh right, okay.
just like you show it, we're all under NDAs here.
Yeah, if you tell us anything about it, we'll have to kill you.
We can't talk about that
something like
or
that.
Those time travel experiments either. We can't talk about those. So. But yeah, there's the first thing that they look at those videos.
I was just coming to Ross Perot's help. So I just wanted to help him out.
No, but what's sad about that is you said that about Ross Perot, but Jimmy Carter was pulling that stuff back when too, and he won. So
yeah, but all you have to do is
all Jimmy said is that he would look into it, and he did. When he got up there, they told him to shut up.
So did Clinton.
Says, "What about those?" They went, "Shut up."
But you just started a sentence with Jimmy Carter, which means everybody stopped listening.
We just dropped in listenership.
Oh my gosh, where'd everybody go?
No, just kidding. Everybody's run off. If we haven't chased them off yet, we never will. Thanks for listening, everybody. You've been listening to Sunday Funnies here for Sunday, the 26th of June.
Just to confirm that I am not in by any way have any knowledge of American politics, except to say that it's probably more bonkers than ours.
If that's possible. Yeah.
If that's possible.
I don't know. We'd really have to sit and compare notes. But
I mean, it's pretty bad.
And whenever I see any of your Parliament in action, though, it always reminds me of our local city council meetings.
Yeah.
Where everybody's there just yelling at each other.
Just a load of posh kids being silly.
Oh, yeah.
They take the guy who's yelling the loudest and tell him that, and arrest him and haul him out for whatever procedural breakage that he's done. And then they try to move on with business. Happens here in Flint all the time.
Yeah, we used to have fist fights down here.
Yeah, they just stopped reporting on the news. They just stopped talking about the city council meetings because the same thing happens over and over again. So it's always, they could take the same footage even and show it.
Yeah,
it's news, but there's nothing new.
That guy who talks deep but said something, and they grabbed him and handcuffed him and politely escorted him off the premises, even though he was an elected official. Blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But then again, that's the same guy that kept pawning his city-owned laptop off in order to cover his bills for the week. Anyway, he got caught driving wrong way on the expressway when he was drunk. But anyway, crazy.
Is he still in? Is he still
He's
there?
still in. He's still in.
Of course.
He got voted back in.
Well, now though, you know what? Over here, the media is such masters of bait and switch that everything's gas is higher, groceries are higher, and all of this is higher. But look at the Supreme Court ruling. Holy crap!
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's all.
You got to keep all these people back in, or it's going to get worse. You know. And,
All these
Yeah,
people
we-
who haven't done shit for the past few years, keep them here so they can continue to not do shit.
and the funny thing is,
Same everywhere. So
Yeah,
there you go.
it is.
Trump's out running around going, "I warned you all of this shit would happen," and all of these other people go, "That bastard! How come you didn't do anything to stop it?"
I do.
Anyway, he tried, but anyway, and he's still getting in trouble for it.
I just think it's amazing. Well, not to get. I don't want to get too.
It's not
political,
amazing.
but I think it's
it's
amazing.
basically political.
Don't do it.
But,
Don't do it.
Don't do
but
it.
I have never seen an ex-president in the news so much. That's like it's not even his news. It's other people talking about it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because they hate him.
They're still scared he's going to get back in office.
They hate him. No,
What-
well, let's hope
Wh-
not.
whether you yeah, let's hope not. Whether you like him or not, you got to admit that some people are completely deranged. They're like they're just saying his name will send them off.
Oh
the
yeah,
deep
those-
end.
those-
Yeah,
We've had
that's-
people in this country that are like that.
That's TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah.
Funnily enough, ours was the same. It was Thatcher derangement syndrome.
We don't even call him by his name around here. He's either the Orange Man or Cheeto Head. It's one of
The
other.
Orange Man. Jesus.
We have the Brexit thing, don't we, Russ? When people,
Oh, yeah.
people
That's-
don't mention
That's all
that.
most of the
Don't
media
mention
is.
Brexit.
Yeah. Most of the media over here right now is all Orange Man bad. That's
Oh, it's,
those crazy hearings for something that happened 2 years ago, when they should be hearings that of stuff that's happened a month ago, and why all of these pharmaceuticals and petroleum companies are making obscene record profits. But that's me being political again.
yeah, but nobody wants to hear about that.
Nobody wants to hear about that.
They are their paymasters. No, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Don't listen to the news. Just get on.
Yeah, right.
I've given
Russ,
up.
You
This.
can't change it anyway. So
Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
Usually
If
out
you
the
wanna
back
be found.
of if I want to be found, find me out the back of Madden Jojo's.
Is that your local pub?
I used to work in Soho above a strip joint called Madam Jojo's. It was a fun time.
That's where you learned all your female anatomy, isn't it?
That's the one. Yeah, like it's amazing what you can catch for drawing.
Amazing what you can
pole
pick
dancing
up.
block. Yeah, amazing what you can pick up, but a little bit of penicillin sorts that out.
Yeah,
I tell everybody, you want to learn female anatomy, go take a sketch pad to the strip club. You're never
Strip
going to
joint,
find more
yep.
fit women.
Yeah,
Even beautiful
I'm,
Victorian, round, voluptuous women.
I'm a
with
comic book
superhero
artist
proportions.
from the UK. If you want to find me, I'm usually out shouting at parked cars. You can find me on my website. So basically everything, whether it's my email list, please do sign up for the email list, because occasionally I do send one out. Whether you want to go find out about my book, Only Death Could Save Us, or the other projects that I have going, which there will be a massive update of soon, you can find out all the links, everything you need from russleach.com, including my YouTube channel, Comic Book Black Belt.
You're going to need to set up a camera now and do a video of you shouting at a parked car.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
Oh, usual places like Facebook and stuff like that. But you can find all my work on Amazon, all the magazines that I've published and do publish, and my books as well. And I'm just working on my new website as we speak. So hopefully it'll be launched soon. You can get everything there.
Cool. New website.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to give the name out yet because I'll do that when I launch it.
Don't do that. Everybody will go up there and be mad that it's still
That's
in
right, yeah.
construction.
I've been to that website. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah. See, tell folks how they can find you.
always at the link tree at linktr.ee/C Michael Lanning that has linked to my Facebook, email, all that nice stuff. Plus, of course, dispatches from outside the box on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. But we usually have Randy on when he shows up.
Usually, sometimes. What's your theme this week?
We're
Again?
talking Grimm's. We're finishing off Fantasy
Fairy
Month
Tales.
with Grimm's.
Don't know if
Grimm's
I'll be
Fairy
there.
Tales.
We're talking UFO conspiracies.
There we are. I'm there.
We already did that. You missed it.
We need to have you back on, Glenn, just so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
We need to get Stone on too. I keep threatening to do a bizarre science video or a channel. That'd be fun. Talk about conspiracy theories and big feet and Bigfoot and Wendigos and that kind of
I've
stuff.
got big feet.
We'll save it because we do have a cryptid episode coming up at the end of the month, next month. So
Love cryptics, especially the ones where you can do a coffee time at the back of the paper. Love them.
Marv says it's cheaper to go to a strip club or hire a model for references. My wife would kill me either way.
No, just that it's everywhere. It's on the internet, and it's not cat pictures. Okay,
That's true, but some of them women up there aren't as physically fit as you would find people who are professional pole dancers.
Oh no!
Soon to be an Olympic event, by the way.
Oh, my God.
fully clothed, I presume.
Oh, clothed enough.
All right, okay.
hell,
You
gymnasts
call
aren't even fully clothed.
Gymnast leotards fully clothed, then yes.
Just wait till they get the no, I won't go
Well,
there.
actually, in the last Olympics, wasn't a female volleyball squad fined for not wearing bikinis?
Yes.
Now, there you go. That's pretty.
They didn't want to wear the skin tight outfit
No.
that the Olympic Committee had said
I'm
that they
sorry.
needed to wear.
I won't.
But
I
that
won't-
sounds super sexist to me.
I won't say. I won't say what I was going to say. I'll just say this: watch out for when they get hairy legs.
Well, they don't because it's bad wind resistance.
I think you missed the
How
point
much-
there.
No.
Russ knows what I mean.
I know what you're talking about. I know. Penicillin.
Folks, you've been listening to the Sunday Funnies. We're here every Sunday morning. Normally, we talk about the fun side of comics. We talked a little comics today, but mostly music. But I'm glad you're here. Glad you were here. I hope you had a good time. We deeply appreciate you being here. Make sure you tell your friends. Go over to that Ragin 2 YouTube network channel and subscribe because we all want to be super chatted. And look at that wide variety of shows. And that's not even all the shows that are on Ragin 2. Nerd Bacon on Thursdays, Sketchy Saturdays with Mike Jimmy and Marv E. House of Bob was just last night, once a month. Daphne sits behind her drawing board and sometimes draws naughty things or what can be perceived as naughty things, I guess. I don't know. Sunday Funnies, always 9 a.m. Talking comics on a Sunday. It's Sunday at 7:30. JD Calderon. And also, don't forget the Zimcast on Wednesday nights. Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A couple more hours. We're a little bit more serious about the comic industry. And I'll probably a little more bitchy as well. So, again, we want to thank everybody. We're going to go out with a classic quotation from Mr. Stan Lee. The great Stan Lee. When asked if digital comics would replace comic books, Stan said, "Comics are like boobs. They look great on a computer, but I'd rather hold one in my hand."
I wonder where he read that.
He said that. That's a direct quote.
Okay.
Okay. It's all right. Thanks everybody for watching. We're going out with our opening because we didn't open with our opening. We'll go out with our opening. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Maybe we'll have another episode of Old Folks Talking Comics. Maybe we'll talk more music. We don't know.
Probably will.
Who knows where the conversation can go? Oh, and by the way, if you were betting that Scott Rosemo is going to be here this episode, you lost. You lost. And so did Scott.
You lose.
Same thing with Daphne. She didn't show up either, so it's all good. But
And Richard's got Kobe.
Russ was here. Glenn was here.
All the important people were here.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Where were they? Where was everybody else? You never know. I did hear from Brian K. Morris, though. He did say that Cookie would not let him come on 2 weeks ago.
No.
I knew he was under the thumb.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
And who's your favorite Marvel Comics hero? Mine is Superman. Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.